Ghost Car on Halloween Night by Anonymous. This is a true story. I am a senior chemical engineer at a well-known northeastern US university. I have a story to tell about the first time I ever saw a ghost. This is not a joke, and I'm not making this up. I've always been interested in ghosts, but I had never seen one before this. I was delivering pizzas for Domino's Pizza in Utica, New York, when it happened. I was a teenager. Huey Lewis and the News was my soundtrack. Twizzlers and bites of customers' pizzas were my energy. I was coming back to the store after a delivery, and I was on the off-ramp. There is a light at the end of the off-ramp and a 4-lane split highway that it connects to. From the light, you can go straight across and turn left onto one side, or you can turn right onto the near side of the highway. I was pulled up at the light, and all of a sudden, there was a bright light in my back window. It was the headlights of a car. He had appeared to have come off the other highway behind me, and it pulled up right behind me, so close that I could not see the headlights anymore. I was wondering what the heck he was doing getting so close to me. And then, all of a sudden, as I looked back forward, he was next to me. It took him the time from when I was looking in my rearview mirror at the car to when I looked forward at the light and then looked sideways to move up next to me. That in of itself was supernatural. Since he had been so close to the back of me, he could not have just pulled up next to me from where he was, especially in that amount of time. So I looked over at him, and he was looking at me. It was about the freakiest thing that I had ever seen. He was glowing. Not actually his skin, but from the bones beneath it. His grinning, glowing smile seemed to emanate from a frowned face. He was staring at me with this dreamy smirk that gives me the chills just remembering. I could see the rest of his car right through him. He was transparent. So I kept looking at him, and he kept looking at me. Then the lights changed, and I started driving forward. I was in the leftmost lane, which was the left turn lane. He was in the middle lane, which also was a left turn lane. So when I took off, I figured he would still be next to me. But when I looked back over, he was not there. So, being curious and figuring he must have turned right instead, I looked back down the road where he should have been, and no one was there. The car had simply vanished. This is a very open area, and if he had pulled off the road, I would have seen him. There is nowhere he could have gone where I wouldn't have seen him. I have tried every single line of reasoning I can think of as to where he could have possibly gone, and there is no other answer other than he and his car just disappeared. He didn't stay disappeared for long. A few nights later, it happened to be Halloween, and the pizzas were flying off the shelf. I was getting ready for the last run of deliveries when I opened the back door to the restaurant, the door handle in one hand, the warm, insulated pizza bag in the other. When the cold air hit me, I looked forward with familiar goosebumps. But, looking up, there was only my car parked outside. Thank goodness. No other cars, ghosts or real ones. But when I looked back at mine, it was glowing. The spectral old car from the off-ramp began to fade around mine, and clenched in the driver's seat was the skeletal, transparent driver, smirking an impossibly evil grin. He seemed older than before, or maybe just more decayed further. His car also seemed aged, as if almost covered in rust. Another car's headlights passed by, and when it had gone, so had the ghost car. Only mine remaining. I made every delivery that night, even though my car started to smell like a dead dog. I never did get that horrible odor out of it, despite many Febreze air fresheners. I was terrified of that delivery route, so I quit my job at Domino's and became a senior chemical engineer at a well-known northeastern US university. And I order pizzas now and then from that same Domino's to keep the ghost car off my scent. But don't worry, I tip those delivery drivers well. At least $2. Although sometimes when I answer the door, their expressions of sheer terror make me feel like it's not their expressions, but the dreamy smirk of a decaying face that knows that I'm scared. This is completely true, how I experienced it. Has anyone else heard of something like this? I keep thinking that maybe it was the ghost of someone killed at that intersection on that off-ramp, in an accident or something. A long time ago, judging by the rate of rust on the car and the amount of decay on his face. But I'm not sure where I could find out the history of the intersection. So that's my story. Believe it or not. And of course, Happy Halloween. Ghost Car on Halloween Night by Anonymous on some 90s true ghost story message board that I once found and has never left me. Especially on lonely dark roads around this time of year when the air is chilled and I just want to be home.